Hello, everybody. I'm me, and yes, I'm wearing a tie. Uh, well, this is for a wedding. But other than that, I am here to talk about My Little Pony: Friendship's Magic Season 2, Episode 3. Now, this episode is going to be a hard thing to talk about in 15 minutes because there's so much goodness. So I'm going to give you my rating right now and let you just, if you really want to, I'll give you my rating right now and you can go onto the episode. That's probably in the link description below. And that is a 10 out of 10. Perfect 10 out of 10. Amazing awesomeness. I couldn't ask for a better show. There are a few minor changes. I'm going to talk about those first. So, if you still want to go, go. If you don't, stick here and hear the minor changes, then go. I don't care. Anywho, let's hear the minor changes, alright? Twilight Sparkle's magic, I know this is nitpicky, but it changed colors from violet to a reddish purple. Some of the voice actors have been changed. None that are really that noticeable, more of just Apple Bloom and maybe even Sweetie Belle. I really couldn't tell the difference between Sweetie Belle because I hadn't heard too much from her. But Apple Bloom definitely changed, and Rainbow Dash sounded like she changed, but again, I have my doubts about that because that voice actress probably does a great job at her voice. It's really hard to replicate. Um, Also, fourth wall breaking jokes are now no longer limited to Pinkie Pie. Now Spike does them. Trust me, you'll see. Um, what else? Oh, right. The remastered version of the theme song. Freaking amazing, alright? It's amazing how some of the simple wave changes and sounds actually make this theme song a lot more badass than it already was. I mean, it was really badass, and now it's even better. Oh, and the theme, the beginning of the theme changed, where you have this new train, and you have Big Macintosh. Well, Big Macintosh was always there, but now he's more prominent in the opening, so you get to see just a little more change there. Now, what's next? Let's go on to the pros of this episode, because there's there's no cons to this episode. This episode is pretty much Pinkie Pie's party of one personified. Honestly, I couldn't have loved this episode anymore because one, I knew Twilight Sparkle would snap and go insane, and two, this episode was pretty funny as it was funny as hell. It just had me laughing every 10 minutes. Actually, not every 10 minutes, every minute actually. Um, this is actually a great study of how almost obsessed Twilight Sparkle is with just her studies and overreacting to the smallest things, especially when. But then again, who can blame her when there's a such thing as magic kindergarten? Ugh. And there are a lot of highlights to this episode too. Many which you'll see a meme of somewhere in like the next 2 hours. Trust me, you'll see it. Like Big Macintosh saying no. Didn't know that could happen. Twilight Sparkle's epic face. Spike's able to curl himself in his own tongue. I'm gonna leave that one alone. Rarity's melodramatic drop into a lazy boy at every moment she can. Fluttershy beating up a bear. Rainbow Dash breaking down a house with a freaking sonic rainbow. That was awesome. All these things and more. Oh man, there's just so much in this episode I want to talk about, but for this 15-minute limit on YouTube, I'm sorry, I can't talk about it all. But needless to say, this episode was great, and there's actually two things I wanted to highlight about this episode that I really wanted to talk about. Sorry, this tie is really getting to me. Anywho. I was actually surprised at some of the actual references in this episode. Like, well, this is a Twilight Goes Insane episode, and you have a Gollum scene. And it's almost just like, well, duh, the nerd has like a Lord of the Rings reference to it. And I actually was happy to see that actually happen. And of course, there is another reference. I don't know if it is a pure reference or might be a semi-reference, I don't know. But there's a part where Celestia says to Twilight Sparkle, "See you in the library." And I was thinking, that sounds an awful lot like Clay Puppington from Moral Oral. Then again, that's an obscure show, so who knows? Maybe it's a reference, or maybe it's just a used line. I don't know. Now, another thing that I loved about this episode is actually uh, the insanity of it all. It plays the whole thing for laughs. Where we saw in Discord's two-parter, or even in the Nightmare Moon two-parter, it played it up for an actual event and strong. And I'm actually happy to see that the writers can change the themes to make it seem so comedic and give that atmosphere and air of funny comedy, and like everything just works. Every joke was pretty good, and you could pretty much see, and this is odd to me, but it's very rare for most cartoons to actually have the facial expressions that My Little Pony Friendship is Magic has. And this is probably the most prominent you'll ever see those facial expressions come in. And I'm actually very happy for that, because you actually get a feel of the characters, even the ones you don't meet for that long, like Miss Cake or Big Macintosh, who, honestly, after what happens, I kind of want to check on him and make sure he's okay. That you get to know these characters even though you don't see them very long. And that's actually a very nice change of pace. I'm not going to talk too much about this episode because I don't want to spoil this episode. Let me just give you the premise. The premise is Twilight Sparkle has figured out she doesn't have a lesson on friendship for this week. Yep. And she freaks out, thinking Celestia will test her. Well, I'm sorry, figure it out. Think that she's not taking her lessons seriously. Test her on those lessons. And then fail her, and then put her back a grade, and then put her back in magical kindergarten. I did not know there was a magical kindergarten, but it must be hell to go back there. Like normal kindergarten, but whatever. And honestly, I love this episode. I love how you actually get to see that Twilight Sparkle has a freaking four levels of a checklist. For one checklist! I kind of liked seeing Rainbow Dash actually punch and kick, and, well, yeah, she punches and kicks wood and breaks the barn down like that. I didn't think Applejack would use Rainbow Dash as a wrecking ball, but it's pretty effective. And actually, I think that whole sequence was actually in a response to the this video called Starscream versus Rainbow Dash. Now, I know what you're saying. Starscream versus Rainbow Dash? Yes. I know. I'm getting off subject, but go look that up. Rainbow Dash kicks the ass of Starscream, and it is fucking awesome. And it's kind of like this episode put that little segment in there of Rainbow Dash breaking down this barn with her bare hooves and a sonic rain boom to show, like, yeah, you guys were right. It could happen. But this episode, again, I love this episode. There's so much in here. There's gonna be so many goddamn memes after this for this episode. It's not gonna be funny. I'm gonna expect like a whole bunch of them to show up on Equestria daily, and before the week's end. Hell, before the night's end. But anyway, guys, check out this episode. Leave comments in the comment section on what I missed or what do you think of this episode. And please, subscribe at any time. Until next time, guys, peace. I gotta get to a wedding.